Hello everyone, welcome back to Pabbly. In this video we're going to learn how to regularly notify your team on Slack for employee leaves. So I manage a HR department in a business and I have a very large team. Now every single day any of the employee who takes the leave, I want to notify that on my team on the Slack channel that I've created. Now doing this manually is very time taking. So what I did was I simply created an automation with the help of Pabbly Connect, which is an amazing automation and integration software. So now whenever any of the employee applies for the leave on our ERP and the leave is approved by us, the record of that is going to be created in Google Sheets, and as the employee will be on the leave on that current date, the notification regarding that is going to be forwarded every day on the Slack channel that I've created to my team. And for that we are going to create an automation between all of these applications with the help of Pabbly Connect. So if you want to learn about this amazing automation, then let me take you all to my screen. Welcome to my screen. In this video we're going to learn how to notify team on Slack for employee leaves. So I manage the HR department of an organization, and keeping track of employee leave requests can be challenging, especially when managing a large team. To streamline this process, I have set up an automation that notifies a team on Slack whenever an employee submits a leave request and it is approved. This ensures that all relevant team members are instantly informed about upcoming absence, allowing for better planning and resource allocation. By automating these notifications, we reduce the risk of miscommunication and ensure that all the team members are always aware of who will be available, improving all-over workflow and collaboration. And we are going to be creating this amazing automation with the help of Pabbly Connect. So on the screen, you can see the website of Pabbly Connect, that is pabbly.com/connect. After browsing this website, we need to sign into our Pabbly Connect account. But if you're a new user, you can sign up for free and get 100 free tasks every month. So as I'm an existing user, I'm going to sign into my Pabbly Connect account. After signing in, you can see the All Pabbly Apps window in front of you, in which you can see the 5 applications of Pabbly, from which we are going to select Pabbly Connect by clicking on Access Now. Then Pabbly Connect's dashboard is going to appear in front of you. In order to start an automation process in Pabbly Connect, we need to create a workflow. For that, click on this top right corner button right over here that says Create Workflow. A dialog box is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for the workflow name and for us to select a folder. So for the name of my workflow, I'm going to give it as How to Notify Team on Slack for Employee Leaves. Okay, so this is the name that I want to give to my workflow. Okay. After that, it is asking for us to select a folder. So on the left side of my screen, you can see I've created multiple folders in my Pabbly Connect account, from which I'm going to select a specific folder in which I want to save this workflow in. For that, click on this drop down. So these are the folders from which I'm going to select Automations for Leave Management as the folder I want to save this workflow in. After giving a name to our workflow and selecting the folder, let's click on Create. In order to create a workflow, a workflow is created in the name of How to Notify Team on Slack for Employee Leaves, and there are 2 windows in front of you. One over here says Trigger, other says Action. Trigger and action are the 2 most important steps of our automation process, because our process depends on these 2 concepts. Over here, trigger says when this happens and action says do this. That means our action is a response towards our trigger. In an automation process, there can be only one trigger step and multiple action steps. We are going to set up our trigger step first. As my objective is to send a daily notification of the employees who are going to be absent for the day of that working day. So for that, I am going to schedule this workflow on daily basis. So for scheduling this workflow for daily basis, we are going to select a trigger application as Schedule by Pabbly, with the help of which we can schedule this workflow every single day. This workflow is going to be executed every single day with the help of this amazing feature by Pabbly Connect. Okay. And for the trigger event, I'm going to select as Schedule Workflow. As with the help of this trigger event, we are going to schedule this workflow according to our requirement. It is asking how often do you want to run this workflow. As I want to send notifications of leave applications every single day, so for this over here from the drop down, I'm going to select it as every day. And for the timing over here, the time zone comes over here as Asia Kolkata. I want the timing as every single day at 9 a.m. this workflow should be executed, should run. So I'm going to select the timing as 9 a.m. okay, and then I'm going to click on this save button. As I've done that, it says how often do you want to run this workflow, comes as every single day. With the time over here, this is a UTC time zone format, and the local time over here as 9 a.m. as per near to Asia Kolkata time zone. Okay. So as now this workflow has been scheduled for every single day, what is going to happen? Every single day this workflow is going to be executed at 9 a.m. scheduled time. Okay. As now we have scheduled this workflow. Now what I want is, I want that I have created a record of the leaves that are been approved. So what are these leaves? Okay. So these leaves are been applied on the ERP, on our ERP. Okay. As the leaves are going to be applied on the ERP, it is going to be approved by us as we are the part of the HR department. We are going to approve the leaves. And as we are going to approve the leaves, the record of that leave is going to be created in this spreadsheet right over here. Now I want to notify my team on the Slack channel that I've created on every single day, on that day which employee is on leave. Okay, so in this spreadsheet, the date of the absence, the employee as they're taking leaves, the date of their absence is going to be created as a record of. So what I want is that according to the date record that is created, the employees who are on the leave on that current date should be sent as a notification on the Slack channel that I've created. Okay. So for that, as we want the current date right over here to check whether that current date has been available in the spreadsheet or not, we require the current date in this workflow as well. So to have the data of the current date, we are going to select our action application as date/time formatter by Pabbly. With the help of this amazing feature by Pabbly Connect, we can format the date and time according to our requirement. And for the action event, as I want the data of the current date, I'm going to select as current date. As with the help of this event, we are going to have the current date. So what is going to happen that as this workflow is going to run every single day. Okay, so every single day the dates change. Okay, so now to have the access of the current date data, we are selecting our action event as current date. As with the help of this event, the day on which this workflow is running, the current date of that is going to be captured over here. Okay, then I'm going to click on this connect button. It is going to ask for the basic format of the current date data that we want. I have selected the data over here, the format of that date in mm-dd-yyyy format. So for the current date over here, I'm also going to select the same format that is right over here, and then I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. As I'm going to do that, we have the response of the current date, that is 4th of October 2024 in mmddyyy format. Okay, so this is the current date data right over here. So now as we have the data of the current date, now what I want is, I want to check whether this current date is available in this spreadsheet or not. Okay, so as the date is going to be available, according to the date, the employee's name is going to be forwarded as a notification on the Slack channel right over here. So now what we are going to do is, we're going to tally the current date with the date that is entered in this spreadsheet. Now in order to do that, we're going to add another action step to this workflow, and for the action application over here, I'm going to select it as Google Sheets. As in my Google Sheets, I'm creating the leave tracker right over here. In this spreadsheet over, the employee leaves is going to be tracked, the record of that is going to be created. So I want to tally the current date with the date entered in the spreadsheet right over here. That is why for the action application, I selected as Google Sheets. Now for the action event, we are going to select it as lookup spreadsheet rows v2. As now we're going to look up to the value of the current date in this spreadsheet right over here. Okay, then I'm going to click on this connect button. A new window is going to appear in front of you, on which click on add new connection, or else you can select the existing connection. As I'm going to click on the add new connection button, it is asking for us to click on sign in with Google button. I'm going to click on this button right over here. As I'm going to do that, a new window is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for a permission. So I'm going to click on this allow button. As the save process in my data is perfectly saved with Pabbly Connect, so I'm going to click on this allow button. As I've done that, you can see I've successfully authorized Google Sheets to Pabbly Connect. So as we have now connected our Google Sheets to Pabbly Connect, it is firstly asking for us to select a spreadsheet. So in the spreadsheet name of employee leave tracker, I create the record of the employee leaves right over here. So for the spreadsheet over here, I'm going to select it as employee leave tracker. Okay. After that, it is asking for us to select a sheet. So I've created a single sheet in the name of sheet 1, as you can see right over here. So for the sheet over here, I'm going to select it as sheet 1. After that, it is asking for the lookup value. Enter the value to be searched in the column here. As I want to look up to the value of the current date in the column date right over here. So for the lookup value, what we are going to do is we are going to map the data. Mapping means inserting data from the previous step. So we're going to insert the data from the previous step of this workflow. And how mapping works is that as soon as I'm going to click on this field, you can see these were the previous step of this workflow. And as I'm going to click on the step data and formatter Pabbly current date, this was the response that was captured in our previous step, as you can see right over here. As for the lookup value, I want to look up to the value of the current date in the spreadsheet right over here. So for the lookup value, I'm going to select the data from my pre-response of the current date. Okay. As I've selected the data from my pre-response, the data is mapped. And as I've mapped the data has now become dynamic. That means whenever a new response is going to be captured in our previous step, automatically the new data is going to be in place of this map data right over here. Okay. So as I map the data of the lookup value, this value is going to be looked up every time this workflow is going to be executed from this spreadsheet. Okay. After entering the lookup value, it is asking for the lookup column. In which column do we have to look up for the value? So for the column over here, I'm going to select the column as column D, because in this column, the record of the dates is created, and that's why I've selected the lookup column as column D. For the end column data, I'm going to select as column D as well, because I want the end data to be the date over here. Okay. It is asking for the lookup as date. I'm going to select as yes, as over here, we are going to look up for the date right over here. Okay. After that, it is asking for use sheet headers as keys. I'm going to select as yes. And for the sort rows, I'm going to select as from top. Okay. After filling in all the required details, before click on the save and send test request button, you can see it says simple response right over here. I'm going to toggle this button off of the simple response as I want the advanced response in place of the simple response. Okay. And then I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. As I've done that, you can see right over here, we have received the response right over here. For the response, rows found comes as 2, because according to the date that we have mapped, that is 04/10/2024, there are 2 responses of this same date. You can see right over here for 04/10, 04/10/2024. You can see there are 2 dates responses over here. That is why over here for the response found comes as 2. Okay. And in the result, we have received the value. Okay. Row index 2 comes for the value of the employee name as demo user, department as marketing, leave type as sick leave, and for the date that we have looked up to right over here. Then for the row index 3, the employee name comes as test user, department as finance, leave as casual leave, and for the date that we have looked up for. Okay, you can tally the response from here, demo user and test user. These are the 2 employees who are absent on the current date right over here. Okay. So as now we have response of the employees who have taken the leave on that current date, now what we are going to do is we are going to further execute this workflow. Now, let me tell you one thing. On the current date, so now the today's date is 4th of October 2024. The situation can be either more than 1 employee, that means 2 or more than 2 employees can be on the leave on that current date, or a single employee can be on the leave on that date, or there will be no employees who are going to be taking leave on that date. Okay, so there are 3 conditions right over here. I want to send notification on the Slack channel that I've created according to these 3 conditions. So now, to apply conditions in this workflow, we are going to add another action step, and for applying the conditions, we are going to select our action application as router by Pabbly. As with the help of router by Pabbly, we can conditionally run the workflow according to our requirements. And for the action event, I'm going to select as conditionally run, then I'm going to click on this connect button. As we're going to do that, it is asking for us to set up the routes right over here. You can set up as many routes as per your requirements. I have 3 different conditions. One can be multiple leaves, other can be single leave, and the last can be no leaves. So now we're going to set up routes for all the 3 conditions right over here. For setting up the route, click on the set filter and action steps button. This is the route 1 that I'm setting, and this route 1 is going to be the condition for multiple leaves applied for that current date. Okay, so now let us do that. So multiple leaves can be either equal to 2 or more than 2. So now we're going to set up the filter according to it. So what's filter? With the help of a filter, we can set up a condition according to which this route 1 is going to be executed. Okay, so now let us apply the condition. For the select value in my spreadsheet, you can see for the date 04/10/2024, there are 2 employees who are taking leave. Okay. So now what we are going to do is for the select label value in the lookup spreadsheet rows, over here says respond found comes over here as 2. That means for the date, for the current date, there are 2 responses that are been found in the spreadsheet. So with the help of this response found right over here, we are going to come to know about how many employees are on the leave on that current date. Okay. So now for the select label, I'm going to select the label as a response found. So now whenever the response found is going to be equal to 2, then this root 1 should be executed. And with this, I also want that not only equal to 2, but also more than 2. Then this root 1 should be executed as well, as there are going to be multiple leaves applied. So for adding another condition, I'm going to select as OR condition right over here. I'm going to select the label over here again as response found. Should be not equal to, but greater than. Greater than 2. Then what should happen is this first root should be executed. Okay. So this is the filter condition is applied right over here. So whenever the response found from this spreadsheet is going to be equal to 2 or more than 2 for the current date, then this root 1 is going to be executed. Okay, then I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. As I've done that, the condition comes as true and the status comes as success. As over here, the response that has been over here is equal to 2. That is why the status comes over here as success. As now the filter is applied, I want to notify that to my team on Slack channel. But before notifying, if I'm going to show you, I'm going to close this root over here. Over here in my Google spreadsheet response that we have not received the name of the employees in a correct format. You can see right where the response that we have received is in an array format. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to take out the correct format and I'm going to notify my team on Slack. And for doing that, we're going to set up our root 1 right over here. Okay. For having the correct format, what we are going to do is firstly we're going to fetch out the data from the array format. And how we're going to do that? With the help of data transformer, I'm going to select the action application over here as data transformer, and for the action event I'm going to select as line itemizer, as now we're going to itemize every single item that we have received in an array format. Okay, then I'm going to click on this connect button. Okay, for the items that are been in an array format should be itemized into a proper format. Or for the data of that, I'm going to map the data that I've received right over here in place of this field line items array. Okay, and then I'm going to click on this save and send test request button. As I'm going to do that, we have received a response right over here. You can see the name of the employee, the department, the leave type, and the date that they have applied the absence for. We have received the data right over here in this format right over here. Okay, but you can see over here, as we want to send notification to our Slack channel with the names of our employees who are on the leave on that day. Over here for the names, you can see these brackets are provided to us. We do not require these brackets. So now to remove the brackets from here, we're going to add another action step over here. And for the action application over here, I'm going to select as text formatter by Pabbly. And for the action event over here, I'm going to select as replace text, and then I'm going to click on this connect button. For the text that we want to format over here, that we want to replace, I'm going to select the name over here. So in this itemizer format, we have received the employee name. I'm going to select this. Okay, as I want to replace these brackets from here, in place of the brackets, I want a new line. Firstly, for the find over here, I'm going to enter the value right over here, which is going to be. So this is the find right over here, as I want to remove this part of this right over here segment. And for the replace over here, as I want to enter a new line, I'm going to write it as /n. Okay. So this, I want to replace this from this. I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. As I'm going to do that, you can see the name is now been entered, first name and the second name right over here, and it is in a new line, you can see. But I also want to remove these symbols from here. So now to do that, what we are going to do is we are going to add another action step to this workflow. And for the action application, I'm going to again select it as text formatter by Pabbly. And for the action event, now I'm going to select it as text parser, and then I'm going to click on this connect button. For the text that I want to be passed out from, for that I'm going to map the data of the text that we have received right over here. For the after text, I'm going to enter this right over here, this bracket and colon right over here. And for the before text, I want this before. Okay, I want a text between this and this symbol. I want the names. Okay, and then I'm going to click on the save and send test request button again, and you can see over here I've received the name of the employee's first name and the last name in a different line. You can see right over here. As now we have received the name of the employees who are on the leave on that day, now we are going to notify that to our team on our Slack channel that we have created. For that, add another action step to this workflow. And for the action application, what we are going to do is we are going to select it as Slack, as now we want to notify our team on Slack channel. Okay, and for the action event, I'm going to select it as send channel message using block. Okay, and then I'm going to click on this connect button. A new window is going to appear in front of you, on which you can add new connection, or else you can select the existing connection. After that, I'm going to click on connect with Slack. As I'm going to do that, it is asking for the token type. It can be either user or bot. I'm going to select the token type over here as bot. Okay, then I'm going to click on the save button. A new window is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for a permission. So I'm going to click on this allow button. As the save process, my data is perfectly saved with Pabbly Connect. So I'm going to click on this allow button. As you can see that we successfully authorized Slack to Pabbly Connect. After authorizing, it is asking for us to select a channel on which we want to send the message to. So for the channel, I've created a channel in the name of all team members. So what I'm going to do is for the channel over here, I'm going to search for all team members and I'm going to select this channel right over here. For the message type, I'm going to select as plain text, and for the message text over here, I'm going to enter it as today's leave report. After that, I'm going to enter again, and after that what I'm going to do is I'm going to map the data of the name of my employees who are on the leave. So this is the data, I'm going to map it. Okay, so as I map the data, so this is the message that I want to send as a notification for today's leave report on my Slack channel that I've created. Okay, after that it is asking for the image URL and all text. I do not require the field, that I'm going to skip the part. For the bot name over here, I'm going to write it as leave notification. This is the bot name. For the bot icon, you can enter the URL. I do not require the field, so I'm going to skip the part. I'm going to skip all these parts right over here, and then I'm going to click on this save and send test request button. As I've done that, we have received a response right over here, which is a positive response. So now I'm going to open my Slack channel that I've created, and I'm going to check whether a notification regarding leave report has been forwarded in my Slack channel or not. For that, I'm going to open my Slack channel, and yes, you can see right over here the leave notification for today's leave report with the name of the employees who are on the leave has been forwarded on my Slack channel. So as this notification is successfully forwarded on my Slack channel, this means that our route 1 has now been set up successfully. So I'm going to close this route from here. Okay, so this route 1 was set up for the multiple leaves that are been applied on that specific current date. So for the name of the route 1, I'm going to rename it and give it as multiple leaves. Okay, so this is the name of the route. I'm going to update it. Now the route 1 for the multiple leaves is been applied. I've already told you I have 3 conditions in which I want to run this workflow. One is multiple leaves that we've already set up. The second one which I want is the single leave. On a day, on a current day, when a single employee applies a leave, for that I'm going to set up another route. And if I'm going to do this, I'm going to set up this route from the top. It is going to take me a lot of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply clone this route from here. Okay, as I've cloned the route, I'm going to rename this route, and this route is for the single leave. So I'm going to rename this route right over here as single leave. Okay, I'm going to update it. So this is the route. Now we're going to set it up by clicking on this button. You can see this route has already been set up because we have cloned the route right over here. First, let us make changes in our filter step right over here. As our route 2 is for the single leave, that means the response found in our Google Sheets will be only 1. Okay, that means on that day only 1 employee is on leave. So what I'm going to do is firstly I'm going to delete this or condition from here, and over for the value instead of 2 I'm going to select it as 1, that whenever the rows found is going to be equal to 1, then this route is going to be executed. Okay, then I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. As I'm going to do that, the status will come as error and the condition is going to come as false. Why it is coming as error and condition is false? Because in our previous response the rows found is equal to 2, which is not equal to the value that we have entered 1. Okay, that is why the status comes as error over here and the condition comes as false. So now in order to change this, I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet, and for this second employee right over here, I'm going to make changes in the date. Instead of 4, I'm going to select it as 5 right over here. Okay, I've updated it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this route, and over here in this spreadsheet step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to again click on this save and send test request button. As I've done that, now the rows found comes as 1, and we have received the value of the employee 1 only, that is demo user right over here. This user is only absent on this current date right over here. Okay, as we have made the changes, I'm going to go back to the router step. I'm going to again set it up right over here. So now if I'm going to go back to the filter step and click on the save and send test request button, you can see the condition comes as true and the status comes as success. As now the rows found is equal to 1. Now let us set up this other route right over here. Okay. For the line itemizer, I'm going to map the data of the array format. Then I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. As I'm going to do that, we have received the single employee name right away, which means that we do not require the replace text and text parser step right away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply delete these steps from here. Okay. As I've deleted the steps, I'm going to go to the Slack option right over here. You can see over here it says result not found. So in place of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply map the data of name of my employee from this step right away. I'm going to directly map the data right over here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply click on the save and send test request button. As I've done that, we've received a response, which is a positive response. So now I'm going to open my workflow and you can see another notification for today's leave report for demo user has been forwarded. Okay. This is the condition where a single employee is on the leave on that day. Okay. The first condition was multiple employees are on leave. The second condition is a single employee is on leave. Now the third condition can be, I'm going to close this route from here, can be no one is on leave on that day. So in that condition, we're going to set up another route. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply clone the route again. I'm going to rename this route right over here. That is no leaves. I'm going to update it. Now I'm going to set up this route right over here. So now what is going to happen that the results found over here is going to be equal not 1 as 0. As there is no one on leave on that day. So the status over here, the value of that will come as 0. Okay, then I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. So whenever the rows found is going to be equal to 0, now we don't want the name of our employees as there is no one on the leave. So I'm going to delete this step from here as well. And now what I'm going to do is for this Slack step right over here, instead of this, I'm going to enter as, so this is the message that I want to send on my Slack channel as no employees are on leave today, as no one is on leave on this date right over here. So this message should be forwarded when no one applies the leave. Okay. After entering the message, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply click on the save and send test request button. As I've done that, we've received a response, which is a positive response. I'm going to open my Slack channel and you can see another notification regarding no employees are on leave today has been forwarded on our Slack channel. So these were the 3 conditions in which I wanted to run the workflow according to the employees applying leave for that current date. I'm going to close this step. Okay. So this means that it's fully created an automation with the help of Pabbly Connect for how to notify team on Slack for employee leaves. Okay. So now to sum up till now what we have done as an HR manager in an organization, I have a very big team and notifying them manually about telling everyone on the team that who is on the leave on that current date, which employees on the leave on that current date or not is very time consuming. So what I did was I simply automated this entire process with Pabbly Connect. So now with the help of this workflow, every day at 9 a.m. a notification regarding the employees that are on leave on that current date is going to be forwarded on my Slack channel. And for that, I've created this amazing automation between all of these applications. So if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel, hit on the like button, comment down if you have any questions or doubts, and please share this video. Not just with these applications, you can create automation with the help of Pabbly Connect between multiple applications. If you have any doubts, you can send us email on support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can ask your queries on forum.pabbly.com. If you have any queries regarding the pricing of Pabbly Connect, then you can check out this link. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel, hit on the like button, comment down below if you have any questions and doubts, and please share this video, and thank you for watching.